Welcome to Mystery of the Soul, where curiosity meets spirituality. Are you curious about metaphysics, the mystical, and the supernatural? Would you like to learn how they are all part of contemporary spirituality? Join me, Leo McCarthy, a spiritual mentor, psychic medium, Reiki master, EFT tapping practitioner, and a shaman.
And I'm Julia LeBlanc, an awakening soul, a doctor of physical therapy, author, yoga teacher, and Reiki master. We hope that our unique perspectives open the door to an amazing journey of discovery.
Please join us and our guests in conversations about spiritual awakenings, our life's purposes, and mysteries of the soul. Hi guys, welcome back to Mystery of the Soul. This is Leo, and I have Julia here with me tonight again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share us. And tonight we have a special guest, Pamela Downes, with us. And Pamela, I'm going to turn it over to you and introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit about you and kind of what got you to where you are now.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me. It's so good to see you guys. And I always love sharing my story and talking about the journey of who I am right here and now today, because it's ever changing, always expanding, and it could be different tomorrow, right? So right now I'm a spiritual mentor teacher. I'm a trance channel for the Great Council of Light, which are a high frequency collective group of beings that I share messages of for my community, Spirit Calling, at spirit-calling.com, that I was led to create through downloads and visions and messages in 2020. So I serve people in helping them remember who they are, helping them understand that they are powerful, beautiful creator beings, and they are not limited by this three-dimensional reality. And it's my greatest joy to work with people and discovering themselves. So, Spirit Calling is my baby, I would say. It's a family that I enjoy and I'm very active in. And I created it and expressed the understanding of my spiritual awakening journey, having been pretty much on my own and not having community, not having people. You know, the universe would give me the right person at the right time to kind of carry me when I needed them. But this journey that I went on is not only the story and the journey that I share in my stories, but I share it in Spirit Calling and how I created it. It's a place for people to have resources, to learn, to do self-discovery, to have community, to connect, to learn about modalities, to learn about spirit, and to be guided by these messages from the Great Council of Light. So it was that there would be a shift that would happen. People would stop in their tracks and not know who and what they were and what they believe in, and they need a safe place to land. And that is Spirit Calling.
What happened, Pamela, in 2020 that was like a shift for you?
Yeah, so I was on my journey, as many of us are. Previously people have been on this expansion journey for a long time. I spent about 10, 12 years going through this journey of, pushing through fear to find love, to continually learn who I was, to break my way out of belief systems, narratives, dynamics in my family, and to learn who I was and what my discernment was and what it was that I believed in. And on that path of discovering who I was, I started my healing journey, which we don't know that we're having a healing journey at the time, right? We're just expanding our spiritual intelligence. We want to know more and more and more and more. And then we want to experience, and we want to go to the things and have the conversations and go to the retreats and have sessions. And I was, by way of, exploring the path, starting the healing journey. And that led me to healing, raising my frequency, healing, raising my frequency, healing, raising my frequency, to start having downloads, having knowings, all my clairs opened and my abilities started to present themselves. And one of the things that I witnessed was this resonance with this retreat center in Costa Rica. And when I saw a video of this man who had this experience, I had this pow, pow, pow moment where I was like, that's where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know that that's part of my journey. And I wound up going there in November of 2019. And through doing plant medicine, which is not for everyone, it's not for everyone. I don't know that I would ever do it again in my life. But through that experience, had reached a point where I was able to expand even further. And I had, at the end of this week-long plant journey and medicine journey, we were doing a breathwork class, and I had this white light just shoot through my third eye, open my whole body up with love, frequency, vibration. And I heard, your psychic abilities have enhanced. Everything from this moment forward will be different. And I came home, and it was 2020, and we had a world shutdown, and I had a new bank of time to discover myself even deeper. And so I sat every morning and said to whatever that was that had guided me over the last 10, 12 years, and then through that plant medicine journey, I want to discover more. I want to co-create more. I want to learn more. I want to work with you more with an open heart and no fear, a little bit of fear. And I continued to work with the energies that were with me at that time. And that opened me up to be able to connect, to hear more, see more, feel more. And this beautiful group of effervescent, feminine, divine feminine beings would start coming in. And they were buoyant and they were motherly. And I felt completely safe and loved from them. And when they came in, I knew that I was going to do deep, deep, deep soul healing and past life healing, which I had done previously in a couple sessions of shamanic journeys. And I continued to go through the release of past lives. So I would have the experience, I would see myself and the actual death. I'd have to feel it and experience it and be like a fly on the wall watching it happen. Then I'd have to release the energy of it, and I would release all the emotions of it. And I did that continually for months, working with these beings. And by the time I had done so much of this past life trauma release and, karmic healing, my frequency raised. And I got to a point where I was able to connect now with the beings that I connect with, all of them that I had ever connected with, but now with this higher frequency group of beings, which I didn't know at the time were the Great Council of Light. And so in 2020, that shifted everything. And, I'm watching my community members go through expansion right now. They're all tapping into their gifts. They're having rapid expansions. And, mine wasn't rapid. It happened when it was supposed to, at exactly the perfect time on the path when it was supposed to show itself. But we still have, whether it's quick or slow, the ability to say yes, to push through fear or love, to embrace it or to not, and to give our soul and ourselves the chance to realize itself in this lifetime. And that was me saying yes to all of this that's here right now. I didn't know it. I didn't know any of this was here, And that's that space of discovery that we get to co-create with our future self, with our past selves, with all aspects of ourselves, and with the teachers and the helpers that are here when in perfect timing when they come.
Pamela, prior to that kind of moment that you talked about in 2019, where you saw that kind of, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it like a brochure or something for the place in Costa Rica, had there ever been anything else that had given you kind of thought or pause when you were maybe younger, or something that you had seen or experienced then that I think a lot of us, there are things that happen, we just kind of brush it off. And that might
Mm-hmm.
have been the moment where you're like, okay, I'm ready to dive in and have this experience in Costa Rica. But was there something prior to that?
Yeah, not when I was little. And I spent my life as a creative, artist, musician, singer. I was tapping into those spaces of inspiration, of spirit, not really understanding it, and in times in my childhood when there was a lot of contrast or fear, I would tap into that space of creativity and music. But someone triggered my memory recently, and they were talking about how they spoke in light language when they were a kid. And I had this memory of my mom saying, "You used to speak in tongues." That's what they called it, because that was what they
Mhm.
knew in their church. You used to speak in tongues when you were a kid. And I had this moment like, oh my gosh, was I connecting with the council back then? Like, was I with my people and I didn't know it when I was in, sleeping? But I had moments like that, Julia. Like, as I started the expansion process, I had, as I connected to my body, as I allowed my brain, which was like lightning, all over the place, it still is, as I gave that higher guidance, intuition, and others the ability to allow me to hear them, I did have profound experiences that kind of helped me kick the can down the road of awakening more
Okay.
and more and more. And one of them was I had just gotten into yoga, and a friend of mine said, "There's a Reiki share. Do you know what Reiki is?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Well, there's a Reiki studio that I go to. They're having a Reiki share. There's like 5 practitioners working on you at the same time." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I'll sign up." It was $30, right? There's 5 or 6 people working on you, and then 5 people like waiting for their half-hour slot. I was the last one, thank God, because by the time I got up on that table, all of these practitioners working on me at the same time, I started feeling this like welling up in my heart. And I started howling and releasing. And it was like a great heart opener that happened at that time. I cleared all this karma. And that was like kick the can down the road, keep discovering. And I wound up going to learn about Reiki. And I got invited to a retreat and also in Costa Rica. I didn't want to learn to be a healer. I didn't desire to. I just knew I was supposed to go. And I started honoring the knowings, honoring the knowings. And when I went, I learned about energy. I learned about the chakras. I learned about myself as being an empath. I didn't really understand who I was, why I was always nervous and had to have anti-anxiety medicine when I first got married around certain people. I didn't understand all of that. I would say I was a super feeler, but what does that mean? It just kind of describes the way that I show up. And when I was in Costa Rica, when they did the attunement, the final ceremony, I had the same stinking thing happen to my throat, although it was scary. I threw my head back, I was foaming at the mouth, and I was in a full on hanging, and I couldn't breathe. The other practitioner came away from her attunement, and they both worked on me at the same time. I couldn't get my head out of the lock, and it was the opening of that space happening again. They are the moments that showed me there was something really big that I needed to discover for me. You know what I mean? That was something that was like, I can't deny it. And I would continue to have moments like that. The right people were showing up at the right time. I would say yes to certain things. Do you want to do trade? Yes. And I wound up going down to, on a business function, doing trade with this company. I worked with this woman. And then I saw that the owner of the company was in this big room. It was an event. And I walked over to him and I said, "Oh my gosh, Steve, hi, I'm Pamela. I'm working on your company's marketing and branding." And he turned around and he said, "Pamela, hi." And we shook hands, we looked at each other, and this energy came through both of our heads, out our hearts, and went, "Voo, voo, voo." And he looked at me and he said, "Do you feel that?" And I said, "I do." I was like, I couldn't even look at him in the eyes. Like, I just didn't know what happened. We wound up becoming really good friends. He wound up reaching out to me to find out what that was. And when he called, he said, "I don't normally talk to business colleagues about this, but I'm getting ready to go do ayahuasca." And he was going to some country, I don't remember. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to do ayahuasca. I'm not, I don't know when, but I'm going to Rhythmia. And that's where I'm going," because I spoke it, because I knew it. And he goes, "Pamela, I'm going there in November." And like, no one was talking about Rhythmia or ayahuasca in our business worlds. No one. And it was just like another ba 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 ba. And we became really good friends. And I kept hearing that he is going to invite you. He's going to invite you. And I said, "Well, if he's going to, then he will. And I will see if it shows up." And he said, "Pamela, I'm getting guidance, and I'm supposed to invite you to this experience. I'm a part of this group. One of the board members that's part of Rhythmia is in my group. They're shutting the whole place down. Normally there'll be like 100 people there, clearing addictions, clearing everything. It's going to be a group of high conscious people who've already done a lot of healing work. You're going to love it. If you can make your way down there, right, you got to write the check and you got to say yes and you got to do all the things. I think you'll love it." And I was like, here it is. Here it is. I didn't have to figure it out. It was like spirit took me, put me there and said, "All right, girl, here's another chance for you to say yes." And I had to write the check, and it was a tax return year. I got exactly what I needed to go on that trip. And I knew I had to do it. It wasn't like, do I get a new roof or a new HVAC? No, I'm going to Rhythmia because this thing is here. And, you know, when you know and you start using that tool and your discernment and you start feeling it inside of every part of yourself, you know what the answer is. You get to choose to move through fear or not. The thing is, if you don't choose the love and fear, you get a chance to do it again. You will get a chance to do it again. So if your heart is in the place and your intention is there and you are on the path of receiving that guidance, allowing the guidance and knowing you're held, everything that's supposed to happen will happen if you choose for it to happen. Mm-hmm. So that's what I continue to do, Julia. Like, I got the download shortly after the trip and the ayahuasca. I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard spirit calling. And by that time I was having lots of experiences at night. I was having beings like bothering me at night and ETs by my bed and visions and downloads and messages. And I was up all night. And when I heard spirit calling, I got up, I wrote it down. The next morning I bought the domain. And then I went on my merry way, just living my life and working, leading my business and running my family. And I had just merged an 18-year-old business with a new partner. And so I just was in a new build mode. And I kept hearing, you can't see my shoulder, but I kept hearing, it's time to build the community. It's time to build spirit calling. And I kept going, I can't do that right now. I'm too busy. I'm doing this other thing you gave me. And then by the course of a year, I kept hearing, a year to build a community. There's going to be a glass ceiling that breaks. People are going to stop in their tracks. They're not going to know who and what it is they believed in their world. They need a safe place to land. They need to be held. And by the time the year was over, I had another vision. I saw wings going down on an iPhone screen. And I just knew it was the picture of the whole thing. And I said, okay, fine, you want me to do it? Send me the people, send me the money, send me all the things. And they told me to leverage my house, which was the only thing that I had left after recession and divorce. Talking about fear and love here. Okay. Like, where's my fear? My fear is in money. I lost it all. Where's my fear? My fear is in living alone, being divorced, taking care of my family and my kids. But where is the love? The love is, I'm being told to do this. I've got to move through the fear and I have to do it. And so I leveraged my house and I did. I built it. I launched it in January of 2024. Shortly after that, I had a dream in the middle of the night with a for sale by owner sign on my front lawn. And they told me how much. They told me as is. They told me everything about it. And I got up and I went, I'm not ready to do that. I was going to do that next year, maybe. I was thinking about it. Now it's time. It's time. But I knew because they told me what to do that I needed to sell it, because they also told me about real estate market crashes and stock market crashes and world wars coming and all this stuff. So I said, okay, I guess I'm doing this. I walk across the street to get my dog from a play date. And my neighbor said, what are you going to do when your youngest goes to college? I said, I'm going to sell my house. I just decided this morning. She goes, my father loves your house. He knew the woman that lived in there. And he already had a plan built because he's in construction. Let me call him. Let me see if he's interested. I sold it in hours, cash as is, everything, walk away from the table, no expenses. And I could pick my closing date, which wasn't for 5 more months. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And so I still get chills hearing myself say the story. But I do this. I share this because this is what it takes. It takes fierce courage and trust. Does it automatically a switch flip and you're just like, I'm held, everything's great, I live in abundance? No, you get to do this all over and over and over and over and over again. Right? It's chuckle time, but it's so true. I'm doing it right now. I sold my marketing firm and I just stepped into leading this company 100% of the time for the last 3 months. And I'm like, you told me to do this. I trust. And this is what we're doing now. So yeah. So the journey is where people send me messages from all over the world in all my message boxes on my platforms, in my inbox saying, There's something about you. There's something about your story. There's something because I'm the witness of potential of what it is to live with your spirit first. I'm supposed to teach people through my action and my story how to learn how to do that. And that's why I love to share my story.
Pamela, it's amazing how you've been able to kind of follow the guidance even
Mm.
through the fear. Looking back on your journey, like, was there times in your life where you look back now and you know you were getting guidance, but you didn't follow it?
Yeah, of
And
course.
how did that go?
There was one in particular that I struggled with because my process in this three-dimensional reality typically is I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna. I know I'm supposed to leave the marriage. I know the contract's ending. I don't wanna. I'm afraid, and my cycle is let's wait another year. Let's work on it. Let's wait, and so I did that with a relationship and I knew that it was not my beloved. I knew that it was not my future. I knew that this person wasn't capable of giving me what I had already seen, what I had already been told so many times was my future. But this person was also my best friend and was very comfortable. And it was the highest measure of love I had in a relationship besides my grandfather. And it was uncomfortable to let that go, not knowing I would have that. And that person's name was David. And I had to end it because I knew that my other David was out in the world and I found him. And so that's a whole other story where I created space for my beloved. I called him in. I spoke his truth. I knew that he was there. Even when I was prepping for, the world and all the things that they told me to do, I counted him into my equations because I knew my beloved was there. I left space in my room for my beloved's things. I spoke him into reality. Well, I was invited to go to Miami for a fun weekend or to visit my mother for a fun weekend in Florida. And my mom and I at the time were, had a little bit of back and forth, and I chose my mom. And when I went down there, I heard I'm supposed to go on a dating app. And I said, I don't do that. And I went on the dating app and it turned into fun. And my mom and her two friends and I were on the lanai on this dating app. And my mom said, I like him. And I reached out to who my beloved is now. And I said, I don't know if you're in the area. He was from Maryland, traveling in Florida for the weekend. I was from New Jersey, traveling in Florida for the weekend. And we met. And it was undeniable soul connection the first moment we met. And that was it. So there you go. It's like,
Amazing.
yeah. I have so many of these stories. It's kind of crazy. It's hard to remember them all, but it's all there. Everyone has these opportunities. I'm not unique to anyone. This is how we were built. We were built with all of these tools deep inside of ourselves. We've just been conditioned to be small, to not think that we are powerful creator beings, that we're not connected to all that is. And that's what I teach. I teach that. That's what the guides. I'm not here to teach you about this planet and these people and this. That's not my job. My job is self-empowerment. My job is to teach people the basics about frequency to help them turn the dial one direction to shift their reality so they can see it, to keep doing it so they can see it and change their life and change everything. And when that moment happens, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It makes me incredibly happy.
Hang tight, guys. We'll be right back.
I'm really glad that I caught that, Leah. um, so Pamela, how how do you I guess how would you tell someone is the best way for them to discern whether or not it's true guidance versus just like their projection or maybe their imagination or their ego coming
Yeah,
into play?
very good question. You will feel everything inside of your body, and you need to start allowing your body to talk to you. So and if you're not used to it, the guides gave me an exercise to teach you about frequency. So the knowing and the guidance comes from an inner understanding. We all have our dials. We all have our intuition. We all have this understanding of what resonates and what doesn't. So they talk about, I'm talking basic stuff here. They talk about, for you to understand frequency, think of a moment in your life when you were a child. Think of a happy, happy, happy memory, a moment that makes you feel so excited, so happy. It's expansive. The hair on your back feels like it's tingling. You smile. It feels wonderful. That's a high frequency. So on a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 10. You think about a memory in your childhood where you felt scared. Your seed, you go in, you cower, you're small. That's a 1. So now start to measure those experiences in your day. Maybe it's when it's time to make a decision. Use the guide, use the basic tool to start. When you start using that, then you're using the tool, you're flexing the muscle, you're giving yourself the ability to start using that communication. And you believe it or not, quickly you get used to it. I know immediately if I like someone and their frequency and I want to spend time with them or be near them or talk to them. And I was always like that, but not everyone is. And so you kind of feel it in your body. And it's very easy once you give it space to be heard, to be felt. And I also say, I was just talking to someone today in Italy, and this guy is having these rapid expansions are happening, man. People are waking up because the planet is shifting and we're into embodiment now. The learning intelligence is wonderful. It's practice and experiential learning now. And, the channeling starting, like they're starting to shake their head. Yes and no. And so these, we're so open now that these beings, if they're meant to, are starting to communicate in different and deeper ways. Part of that you have to allow to understand it because it's a picture just like everything else. You have to understand the whole ecosystem, but you do it with trust, with love, with protection, with faith. But you have to understand your power. The only way to understand your power is to use these tools, to use these experiences as teaching opportunities. And I teach my community to honor that, to not be in fear, and to always know that there's like a grounded place to recalibrate, to regroup, to reset, and to start again. Because everything is all around us. We just can't see it in our 3-dimensional reality. So it's all there anyway. We're just learning to tap into it and to see it, to feel it, to hear it, to sense it. Does that answer your question?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that you had said, and I was like, I got to remember to ask about these things. So you're talking about like, I think having your guides, and I know people who know their guides. And then I know people who just know that they might feel like there's something, but they're not really sure. How would you recommend to somebody to like meet their guide?
Yeah.
Like if
Good question.
they were interested, or if they wanted to know, like, okay, like I'd like to be able to try to tune in enough to try to see like if my guide is willing to let me know who they are or for me to learn more about them. What are your recommendations for people who are interested in that?
That's a great question too. People are very interested in learning more and having a relationship with their guides. It's funny because the council, I never imagined that I would create meditations. It's not something that I thought I would do. And when I'm in channeling messages for the community, these amazing meditations come out. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And one of them was connecting to your spirit guides. And so it's connecting a bridge to them in a loving, supportive way, in a family way, in a soul group way, and asking them to present themselves to you with the same respect and love. And what's the word I'm looking for? Delicacy, right? Delicately. I always say to start with maybe something that feels familiar and safe to you. So you have your deceased loved ones. Maybe there was someone that was in a part of your life that, like with me, it was my grandfather and my grandmother that showed me the highest measure of love. I had a really strong relationship with them. And my grandmother was one of the first ones to come through. Show me a sign that is unique to our relationship. You can do that. I don't say like, show me a rainbow, show me a cardinal, show me this, show me that. It's allow the communication to be opened up and to present itself, and allow me to see it and to realize and feel it. So when you're near me, allow me to sense it on my body and to feel it. And honestly, when you think of that person, you may feel their energy near you. You may have a memory of them that comes into your mind. You may see them in your dream state. That's how a lot of my communication started. My father started coming to me in my dream state. My grandfather, who was a shoemaker from Italy, started showing me shoes and things. Like it was really cool. It starts off in small ways because you have to learn this communication just like you have to learn anything else. Just
Mm.
like you have to learn a language if you're learning a foreign language or something that's unique or new to you. And you practice it with intention, with patience, and you allow it. Um, there's this whole understanding of creating a protected container, of feeling like you're in a safe space, and I totally honor that, and think that it's imperative for you to feel safe so that you can try to tap in and connect, because it's all about you. Everyone is so unique. Everyone's journeys are unique. Everyone's lifetimes are unique. Everyone's abilities are unique. We all have them, but others, like I've been using mine in many of my lifetimes. So for the channeling to blast itself wide open like that, like I knew something was really there to be discovered. And so oddly or amazingly enough, the April channel message said, you are all on your unique journeys. Do not compare yourself to anyone else's because it is yours,
Mm.
right? And we have these gifts that show up. See them like the child in wonderment and amazement and express it. You feel it in your body. Do you not? It feels wonderful. Approach things like that. And that is a high frequency. That is a beautiful frequency to be exploring in.
I am definitely guilty of getting like lost, and like I'll be outside and like, wow, that bird looks really pretty flying overhead.
I get
People are probably like,
you.
what is she doing? And I'm just like, oh, it's so lovely. Like driving down a street and it's like the trees just line up perfectly with the sunlight coming through, and like there's like little things that like it's like, oh, like, it's so nice. So I definitely have that, but I have moments where like that doesn't happen at all. It's I for me, I
Yeah,
think like it's not like an all the time. We can very easily get kind of bogged down with other energies that are having an effect on things. Um, one of the
absolutely.
other things that I wanted to ask about is um you like you said you walk into a room and you can just kind of like tell with someone. I've had moments where I've met someone and I get like that huge like ick. I've
Hmm.
also had moments in my own life where I've met someone and I'm like, they're amazing. I'm super drawn to them and they are a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Ooh,
So, my question is, where does that disconnect happen? I look at myself as being somebody who's pretty energetically in tune with a lot of things, but less so now because I'm tuning in more, but definitely when I was a bit younger, then there's this like, are they just attracted to my energy? Am I seeing a reflection of my energy coming back at me from them? And that's what's blinding me? Or am I truly just completely out of whack?
yeah. Awesome. Awesome question. It's interesting because you answered your own question. So you resonate at a frequency and you draw like to you, right? And I know, and I've experienced this myself, depending on the level of love that we carry and the vibration that we're carrying out, that we're pulsing out into the universe, it's universal laws. We do attract what we need when we need it. So sometimes those sheep, the wolf in sheep's clothing, they do come. And there's something inside of us that chooses not to completely 100% realize what we're feeling because we're drawn to something about them. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because they were there to show us more about ourselves, right? To help us
Mhm.
learn more about discernment, more about what we will accept or not accept in a relationship, no matter what kind of relationship it is, whether it's romantic, like whatever. And through those experiences, we realize more about discernment, more about experiencing others energetically, more about what we want in our life, what we don't, more about situations. And yes, it's a multifaceted sort of response, but there's something inside of you that called that experience into your experience, basically. And you, I would say, learned from it because you said it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So you learned that that was a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Yeah, we've all had that. We've all had that. And I would say, and I try to teach this to my young daughters, especially my youngest, we attract these experiences to help us learn love. No matter what, baseline, that's it. Be all end all, it's love. And you attract that person because that's where you're resonating in that love frequency. And through that contrast, through that, however hard it was, you learn more about you, about your capacity of love, about what you want, about how you, like all of it. And you can only get there by learning it, by having the experience. And it sucks, yes, and it feels all these things in our three-dimensional world. But our soul is like, hell yeah, I learned so much. That was such a great person to learn from, right? And your team on the other side that you don't know are like, yes, meet, talk, connect, learn,
Mm.
complete a contract. This is what's next. And it's all part of the big game, the big game board of people and places and lessons.
Julia, I want to just respond to that question real quick about your let's say your compass or your guidance being off, not seeing the wolf in sheep's clothing. Is what I'm getting about that is it wasn't meant to be revealed to you until it was.
Right.
Mm.
And so it wasn't about your barometer being off. It was more about the divine timing of when you needed to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
all I
that
want to
that's,
say about that, is what I was getting.
It's exactly
yeah.
right.
And I think, one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up is because I know plenty of people who have been through situations like that, and they're probably guessing the same thing. Leo, you've known
Mm-hmm.
me for a while. I've become much more aware of these things. I have a different thought process, but I'm also, I want to come into these discussions where I'm bringing back maybe some of the experiences that I've had because I know that we're going to have listeners out there who are wondering those very same things. I also
Mm-hmm.
like to get different people's points of view on it because I think that I find that sometimes like taking all of the information and like synthesizing it, that it ends up sparking something else in my brain and I learn something in a different way. Um, yeah, I think it's, you know, having the ability to like clearly see everything all of the time. I think no matter how in tune you are, that no one is going to have that 100% of the time. And I'm happy to
Absolutely.
have somebody tell me that I'm wrong. But I think for the people out there who are hearing some of our guests that we have come on, like you, Pamela, it's like I want people to understand like it's not always pretty. It's not
Right.
always easy.
And you.
There's a lot of icky, mucky stuff that we all go through. Um, and one of the points that I'd like to ask is, for somebody, especially for like high capacity women, um,
Mm.
and high capacity in multiple ways, not just maybe in professional, but I work with a lot of mothers. And there's this constant being pulled in 50 different directions because, you've got your family, you've got maybe your job is taking care of your entire home, maybe that's the job. But I think that it's finding that time, like, how do I take care of myself? How do I make sure that I'm taking care of my spouse? So for the people who are in that just high capacity situation, male or female, what would be your advice to get them to slow down, to be able to tune in more so that
Mm,
they cannot lose sight of or not lose the connectivity of having some of those experiences you're talking about?
yeah. I work with high capacity leaders. And as one of the people that I work with everyone at every phase in their spiritual awakening journey. As being a high capacity leader and a mother, and in a partnership that I hold in high regard, and every relationship that I have and the people that I work with, we are our own highest critics. We are trying to help everyone at the detriment of ourselves, usually. And we're trying to support our children and their desires and their needs, and support our partner and make them feel loved and speak their language and give them the attention that they need, and take care of our home and our pets and our plants and our parents and I mean, it's like, it's everything. But you have to take care of yourself first. I mean, everyone hears this, right? And we say, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help others. But it is true, because when you are in a space of leadership in your home, in your organization, if you don't fuel and ground and support yourself, then you're going to burn out. Um, with me, I'm channeling for my community. I'm channeling for my
Mhm.
one-on-ones. I'm trying to channel and learn what are my next steps for me. I am trying to be in the highest vibrational relationship I've ever been in. It's a lot. It's a lot. And if I don't sit down and ground and know what the tools are that I need to help me continue to not only evolve, but to stay in a space of it's sustainable. Like, I go on council walks where I don't have my technology in my hand. I am doing what you just said, Julia. I'm telling the freaking dogwood trees how beautiful they are, that they're pregnant and they're just exploding. And they're like, I'm connecting with the pine trees and the grass and the birds. And I'm trying to give myself that like expansive space, and to move my body, to move my creativity, to work on my nutrition. Because if I don't fill those buckets, I will be depleted and I won't be able to support anybody
Mhm.
else. And high capacity leaders and mothers, I mean, they all kind of have the same characteristics.
Mhm.
They're there to nurture and support others. Um, whether it's the culture you're building and the leadership you're building in your organization, or whether I'm working with someone who's building a legacy company to leave to their family, multi-generational. And it's like incredibly intentional planning. You're using all of your tools and you're thinking about like the future, but you're here now, and your physical body needs to support your spiritual body, and your brain needs rest, and your body needs rest and care. And you need all of these tools. So one of the things, I hope I'm answering you, but one of the things that I did intentionally after leading my own business for 26 years and moving now into my new business for the last 3 months, for the last 3 months of 2025, I said, I am going to create an intentional calendar that builds in the things that I need to support all of these things that you want me to do. And
Mhm.
so my head just filled up. So does that mean that I am in the midlife that I am in and I don't sleep well? And in the morning I need to be able to sleep? Okay, that's something I need to pay attention to. Does it mean that music and art need to be in my schedule? 100%. Does it need does it mean that I need to not work till from 8 in the morning till 8 at night every day? Yes. Like, what are the things that are I get
Mhm.
to flip it and change and create what I want. Everybody does. So if you're a mother who's running around, like I've done, doing carpools, serving families, serving on boards, running and working in business, and signing up for anything and everything, trying to please everyone around them. I say this to my community members. You get to say no. You get to pick and choose. You are not here to serve anyone. We're here to serve yourself. And so you choose who's the most important. What are the most important things that you need to do? You're one of them. So get really strategic and intentional with what you're bringing on, what you're putting in your bag, what you're putting on your calendar, and honor it. That's the hard part, is honoring it. Oh, well, I don't have anything scheduled until 11 because I'm supposed to go on my walk, do my exercise, make sure my nutrition is right, connect with the guides, blah, 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 blah. That is what that time is for. And when the calendar's done at 6, it's done, or 5, whatever it is. And if reading is your thing, if exercising your thing, if going, bird watching is your thing, then make sure that you're doing it every quarter. Get it in there. And that fuels and feeds you so that you can fuel and feed others.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You have permission, Julia.
Yeah.
Oh,
You have
it's I feel like I'm regularly the one who's fielding these questions from people. And I say a lot of very similar things. Because I do think that it's challenging, and I tell people, like you said earlier, it's just that one thing, that one degree, that one moment. And I think that it's also who you have around you. I had someone the
yeah,
other day who was like, just take a deep breath. And I was like, gosh, the number of times I've said that to people, like, let's just take a deep breath and breathe together. And, it was a little role reversal and they were saying it to me. And I was like, I love how that lands. That works really well for me.
yeah,
Um, but it's nice. I think there's a lot of we get so caught up. I think a lot of people were dealing. I'm a physical therapist. I don't know how much you know
yeah,
about us, but it's one of those things. I think just about everyone today has a slightly dysregulated nervous system in one way or another. We're just bombarded with so many different things happening in the world, not even
mm-hmm.
just in our own lives. So, you take a nervous system that's off, what's the fastest way that you can help to kind of calm it down? And I tell people it's breathe. Take a
Mm-hmm.
breath. Go outside if that works for you. Take a breath of fresh air, stand on the ground, feel the air around you. Like those are kind of the small simple things. But I also know, like, I have those moments I don't do that myself. So it's
Yeah,
but I tell people, like, where I'm not flawless, so I don't expect you to do it all the time, but I'll always be here to remind you.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's our world. It's a very fast paced world. And I can't explain saying no enough. Like, you don't have to pick me up at the airport. No, I can't. I'm sorry. I have and my beloved, he's a Marine. So there's no explanations. There's just like, no,
Mhm.
I'm sorry that I can't. And then there's like no explanation, where I'm the empath. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a meeting. I will be back. And like, mine's like a full paragraph. And he's like, baby, you don't have to explain it to anyone.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And that's all. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Right. I don't have to explain it to anyone. But you have to put them into practice. And most people
Yeah.
are like, okay, cool, fine. Yeah, I'll find someone else to get me from the airport, or I'll get an Uber. I didn't think of that, or whatever. But I had to learn that, Julia. Like, it's hard. And my body tells me, when I get into that space that you just talked about, all I want is soup. All I want to do is make
Mhm.
soup, eat soup, bowls of soup, and all I want is dill, because dill calms me. And when I start to crave that, I know that there's something off, and I need to recalibrate and reset. And that's actually just started like yesterday. I thought about dill. It's so funny. My body's like, dill, dill, dill. But we're human, and you got to cut yourself a break.
Yeah. Um, I have another question about, those nudges, because I
Yeah,
definitely am guilty of the nudge, nudge, nudge. Okay, I'm gonna push you off a cliff. And I'm like, okay, I give in. I'm sorry. I didn't listen. Um, for for someone listening, they feel that little nudge
Mhm.
and they know that there's something there, then they know there's something more. Maybe it's that they're afraid to trust it. Maybe it's like, well, I that wasn't my plan for now. That was my plan for in a year, one of those types of things. What would you say to them?
Hmm. Let me just think for a second, because my first thing would be to say, why do you feel like it's not right now? Why do you feel like it's not right now? Because first find out there's fear right there. And what is the fear? Why do you think it's not right now? And identify that, because maybe it's not like really. We have triggers, and one of the things we're talking about in this monthly
Mhm.
message is not having these automatic reactions. I can't do that, you know. But if it's something they're being called to, like for instance, yoga teacher training, or if it's something they're being called to, like leave their job or their marriage or something like that, you need to step into real clear communication with yourself to understand what's at the root of it, so that you can really know deep within inside of yourself and your heart where you are positioned. What's the driver behind it? Be the witness of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotion to say, am I saying this because I'm scared of it? What am I scared of? Like, have a conversation. And then if you truly feel like it's not time now, be okay with that and say, I'll bring it up again next year, this time, or next quarter when I'm feeling less overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And I'm going to intentionally write it down in my journal and come back to it and be intentional about it. If you feel, this is something I hear all the time, because people think because I did ayahuasca that I'm like, woo, ayahuasca, let's do it every weekend. I'm not. I had no desire to do it. It wasn't something people were doing around me. It came to me, and in a sequence of how I was seeing things, that knowing was so strong I couldn't deny it. But I get quiet and recede in any part of my life. If there's a decision to make, I can't make something right away. I need to sit in it. I need to feel in it. I need to go back to it. It's just my process. Um, so with ayahuasca, I knew it was what I needed to do. And I knew that I would also be guided to when the perfect time was. It's another thing. If you have a nudge, just start talking to your team and your guides. Talk to your higher self
Mhm.
and your soul. What does my soul want? What does my soul want? Is this for me right now? Feel it in your body. No, it's not right now, but it might be in your experience in the next year or the next 6 months. Um, and say to your team, to your guides, to your soul, then show me if this is something I'm truly supposed to move forward with. Make it very apparent to me. Make it very clear so that I understand it more fully. Because there's no sense of urgency unless there really, really is, and you'll feel it. But you are allowed to have space to understand things, because when you start living this way, those knowings or nudges get stronger and stronger. And you, like me, the guides talked about the wheels, the gears of a bike last month, and how if you start functioning with the soul as the front gear, it pulls the body along into the journey. No matter what is
Mhm.
happening in your world, you're going to pivot, you're going to turn right, you're going to jump over, and like you're going to always have the highest and best experience. So if you start living with the spirit first, allow it to be heard and felt, and that often um, includes time.
Yeah, I think it's okay to like table it for
Mhm.
a period of time,
Mhm.
like you're saying, if you get a nudge. So whether you table that for 3 months or a year or whatever it is,
Day.
a day, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
For those people who are spiritually bypassing, and instead
Ooh.
of staying and actually like doing the work in the way that is best for them, and they're just trying to blast past it, what advice would you give those people?
Mm. They're going to get exactly what they're asking for.
Mm.
You know, spiritual bypassing. I'm assuming, well, maybe I'm not. I mean, this is my mind. I'm going back to plant medicine. A lot of people think that if I do ayahuasca, it's going to change everything and I'm going to have this huge expansion and my life. Like, it's not necessarily the case. And spiritual bypassing, to me, sometimes I don't usually use that word, but I do feel like people think that that's what'll happen. They want, in this world that we live in, everything is immediate. It's yesterday. It's push a button and it's delivered in an hour and by the end of the day. And that's what we've been conditioned to experience in our everyday lives. Spiritually bypassing, they don't know they're doing it. I don't think it's functioning from a different place. It's functioning from brain. It's functioning from a different place. So they're going to get exactly what I said before, what they asked for. So, for instance, if someone goes into ayahuasca, not ready, baby, whew, it is nothing. It is nothing to mess with. It is no joke. If you are filled with fear and you haven't worked on yourself at all and you go into that space, like, you're opening yourself up to anything and everything, you will learn a big lesson that way. And so will that help you on your spiritual development? Of course. It's going to show you something through that experience. It'll show you what you need to know. And I think that's the only answer that I can give you. You're going to get exactly what you need to know. And that's our whole journey is through choices. That's the whole journey.
Yeah.
And so if
Then
yeah.
I was going to say that's one of the reasons I wanted to ask is because I know a lot of the people that I've spoken to, they think that they can like just jump into something and have the experience and it's just gonna accelerate things. And I'm like, I don't know that that's always the journey. Like, I definitely
Right.
find myself, I like to be in control. I like
Yeah.
to, make things happen, but I also know that doing things in an intentional way and sometimes taking the pause and taking the moments along the way, that for someone like me, I'm going to get so much more out of it than if I'm always just like barreling through things.
Right.
Um, and part of that, I think it's dependent on how we were brought up, the things we were
Yeah.
conditioned with, the experiences, the traumas, all the things that we've gone through, that kind of lead us in one direction or another. But I think it's also really important for people to know that sometimes you just need to kind of sit for a minute before
Yeah.
you're jumping to the next thing. And some people, they're going to get that guidance like, nope, keep going, try this. I'm going to move you a little bit outside of your comfort zone. I know you don't want to do something like an ayahuasca retreat, but
Yeah.
you're going to do it.
Yeah.
um, but I think that that's something that I want listeners who haven't had much experience, that they are hearing from us. It's that journey is going to look different for everybody, and you don't need to just go and do something if you feel like you aren't ready for it, thinking that that's going to be, the answer to it all.
Very well said. And our personalities are a huge part of that. Someone recently that became a very good friend reached out to me, saw me on a podcast, having a huge shift in their life, left a huge global organized religion. It was on a high ranking position there and changed everything about his life and really felt called for ayahuasca. And so the first time we met, my whole entire body was screaming like inside, like, no, it's not time for ayahuasca. Like, but I can't make that decision for someone. And I
Hmm.
think that just like anything, I think you have to get quiet and really just allow the universe to show you there. This is what I'm seeing now. There's a complete divide happening on our planet. The world of intelligence, spiritual intelligence and learning, it's beautiful. It's good. It's embodiment now. It's experiential learning. It's practice. You have to put in those practices of patience, of reverence, of understanding, of giving yourself the time to let your spirit speak and to be heard and to honor it, discern it, to move through it. And those decisions will come through that. It's a new way of functioning, and people just have to give themselves a chance to do that. And if you're meant to do it, your team will tee it all up for you. They'll tee it up in a big way, and you'll know. Taking your brain out of it, big time.
Why do you think some people experience these things at like a younger age versus other people having it happen like when they're a little bit older?
It's their soul's journey. I'm seeing a lot of younger people now having much quicker spiritual awakening journeys than I do. And I'm going to be 56 in a couple of months, and I've been doing this probably since I was, I don't know, 40, 37. A lot of it happened, the last 10 years or so. But I do believe that we come back at specific times with our soul contracts to do specific things. And a lot of people are jumping into major roles and finding themselves. And it's here now. It's time now. It's go time right now. I just met with somebody, I think I said this earlier, that was in Italy today. And we're supposed to be on a podcast together, but we wanted to say hi because we have a mutual friend. And he started telling me about this rapid channeling that's happening. And then he starts telling me about something he's experiencing, which is what I just started moving into, which is this new healing technology that I've been getting integrated into my system. And that I know that I'm going to be bringing on the planet in a much bigger way everywhere on the planet. I know that that's my whole vision for the future. He starts telling me about this. And it's like, he's just tapping into it, opening up to, he's my age. These people we're finding each other. Like I've always seen since 2020, the globe and then these lights going and this grid lighting up. That's what's happening. And we're shifting as the world and those energies are breaking down. Here we are coming in. And this shift is happening. It's amazing. Just in the last couple of years, what's happening. And also, how I talked about, I'll be channeling and a meditation will come in. A womb activation meditation came in. A womb activation. I was like, what is this? It's to help heal wombs of all ages, but to help heal wombs of women who want to conceive these higher vibrational beings that are coming on the planet. So they're getting affected not only through experiences, their intimate experiences, but through medicine, through other things, vaccines, through their world, through, the energy on our planet, through everything. And they're clearing that space to be able to carry these higher vibrational babies who are here to create the next wave of what's going to happen on this planet, which we're pioneering and helping. We're paving the way for all their work, which is awesome, isn't it? Raising consciousness.
Boy, this has been a lot of information.
It has. It's been fun.
I have another question.
Go for it, Julia.
Pamela, when you're channeling, can you describe to people like what's happening to you, like physiologically or energetically? Like if we were in the room with you just as a fly on the wall, what would we observe?
Good question. When I channel live in front of people, it's a oh my gosh moment because the frequency of the council is intense. When I went to Next Level Soul with Alex Ferrari, he had the council blew out the speaker. Like he had to say, hold on, it's never happened before. He had to go back in the room and reset everything. And when we were done, he said, Bashar? And I said, yes. He goes, this is stronger than Bashar. And I know Bashar very well. Then I got invited to be on Digital Social Hour with Sean Kelly. I went on that because the vision I've always seen is that I am supporting the masses, the people who are just waking up. I'm not just supporting the spiritualists. I'm supporting the people who don't even know they're having a spiritual awakening yet. So I had to go on this mass huge one, because even though it was a huge ego death for me, it was the hardest thing watching that thing go live and viral. It still is viral. I'm pinned on his page over a year later. He had people come in and out all day long. So there were like 12 recordings all day long. I was just a slot that went in and out. I am in the studio and the monitors start going crazy. And my friend was with me, who came with me to Next Level Soul, and she just started laughing. She goes, "Sean, it's the council." And he's like, "What?" It kept tripping up the monitors. They didn't have a problem before I got there, and they didn't have a problem with the rest of them that day. It was just my energy and the council. They come in like a force to be reckoned with. I have learned to harness them more and more easily as I've raised my frequency. And now I have this technology inside of me. I am channeling. It's so cool. It's so cool. I am healing soul bodies. I am reprogramming, clearing, and restoring soul bodies through this technology. So it's through sound and frequency and like specific maneuvers, and it's powerful. So when people experience it on screen, they're like pulling layers off and they're red in the face. I'm going to be doing an intensive workshop in Las Vegas in July, and they're showing me what I'm going to do already. So I'm going to be healing people real time and changing their frequency and their soul body, their blueprint, basically, is how to say it. It's going to be intense. It's cool. I'm there for it. I'm just allowing all of this to expand. And I just, I'm a totally different person than I was when I started this. I feel held. I know them. They are me. I am them. They have told me this is a we, Pamela. You are a part of the council. This is an incarnate aspect of the council. I met my incarnate aspect. She integrated with me. The second piece of technology came into my stomach. And I'm just here for the ride, because, man, if I don't know that this is what I'm doing now, then I made a big mistake, because I sold my marketing firm, and this is what I'm doing. And I can't wait to see how it continues to unfold. The things that I never knew I would do are here, and the things that I never knew that I'm going to do are going to keep showing up. I'm going to do them and be excited about it.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If
people want to work with you, Pamela, or connect with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so they can go to my website, spirit-calling.com. There's a whole bunch of information there. They can explore it and check it out. But I do have a specific page for your audience. They can go at spirit-calling.com/mystery of the soul. There's a couple of free downloads. One of them is inspirational quotes from the Great Council of Light that they can use every day. And then the symptoms of an awakening that they can look at and find out about themselves. But I built a quiz on my homepage. It's an assessment. It's an amazing tool. They can do it and see where they are on their spiritual awakening journey. And I would tell everybody to do that, to check it out, because you might be somewhere you don't even know you are. You could be really somewhere, maybe you're ready for leadership. You don't even know it, So I'm excited about that. And then all my social channels are the same, Spirit Calling Pamela. I am about to put out the April energy update. I do it every month, and mid-month, get on board, follow it, and stay in tune for the energies of the month, but of the year. I share predictions. I share visions. I share updates from the council. I've seen a lot, and a lot of what they said has happened. So it's more about preparedness and being in this state of strong and powerful, rather than being taken over by any sort of vibration of fear that may happen. We've seen things happen. We've seen things happen the last 9 months, real time in front of our eyes. We want to be able to be positioned and know our place, and strong frequency and powerful. So yeah, all of those spaces is where I live, and I'd love to answer any questions or send me messages. And thank you guys for having me here today. It's been really wonderful.
Yeah, this was awesome. Do you have
Thank
anything
you
else,
so
Julia?
much. I could keep going.
I know we
However,
could. I feel like, Pamela, we're going to have you back.
Okay,
yes,
that sounds good.
yes,
Probably next year at some point, because I think life is going to be so different in a year.
Totally.
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so
Um,
I'll be
much.
doing Yeah,
All
you're
right.
welcome.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share us. And stay tuned. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And to our listeners, if something stirred in your body, your breath, or your awareness during this conversation, trust that. Healing doesn't always arrive as answers. Sometimes it arrives as resonance.
And if you want more information on Mystery of the Soul, go to our website at www.mysteryofthesoul.com. And if you're interested in more about Leo's services, go to his website at www.leojmccarthy.com, and you can always book a free discovery session with him.
And if you're interested in the services that I'm able to provide, please visit arisewithjulia.com for any information about Dr. Julia LeBlanc. This has been Mystery of the Soul. Until next time, stay curious, stay embodied, and keep listening.